2. Wyatt. I like to think I'm a good person. I work hard. I take care of my family, especially my younger siblings and grandfather. I even give money to charity every month to support the indigenous heritage initiatives my mom sometimes volunteers for. Yet, for some reason, the world has decided to punish me by sending over a red-headed British princess to knock down the small bit of happiness I've managed to build for myself. I mean, she literally shares the same name as one of the Disney princesses. Knowledge I've regrettably gained from my younger sister forcing me to watch those films. My dad would laugh and say this is what I get for giving up everything to work on a ranch for someone else. The classic "I told you so" lecture I've been dreading again. It was soul-draining enough to hear after Holly left me, because if I'd have gotten myself a fancy job like my parents wanted or pursued my football career, that would never have happened, apparently. Even though I've known for a while now, since Grace got ill, that my future here was less certain. I really didn't expect it to be destroyed so soon, especially not by a wellness and positivity influencer, whatever the hell that is. As I raced towards my place, a cabin-like building just a short walk up the track from the main house, I realized my mom would also say that I was raised to be a gentleman, and in no way was I one just then with Aurora. I wipe a hand over my face, groaning because I do feel bad for not being more welcoming. But the way she barreled up to the house like she's owned the place for years, despite the fact that she likely has zero idea how to run a ranch, pissed me off. And then she mentioned selling, and any patience had, which is rarely much even on a good day, vanished. It took every inch of self-control to force myself back to at least take her suitcases up to the front door, even though it was mildly entertaining watching her try to tackle them, given that they looked about twice her size. It doesn't matter how attractive she is either. With her freckled, golden skin, wide hazel eyes, and striking copper hair. As soon as she started talking, that posh British accent coming out, my body buzzed with infuriation. Even if that little purple gym set she had on did cling to her figure far too distractingly, it doesn't matter. She doesn't belong here. She won't understand how important this place is. Aurora's out of sight by the time I reach my front door. I can only see the back deck from here. I know if I go inside, I'm just gonna sit and work myself up. So I head back down the porch steps and jump in my old red Ford F250. I turn the radio up loud, letting the lyrics of my favorite man, Zach Bryan, drown out my thoughts. I take the truck up to the stables where my American quarter horse, Dusty, is resting. She gives me the dirtiest side-eye when I tack her up. I give her a pat as I lead her out. "Sorry, girl, I just need to clear my head for a bit. I'll bring you extra carrots tomorrow, promise." Dusty offers me a brief huff in response, but I know she's a wild spirit at heart like me and can never resist a ride around the lake. As soon as I'm mounted, I give her a squeeze and she's off galloping happily through the fields, proving I know her too well. TVE runs Sunset Ranch for Grace since my grandfather's stroke 4 years ago. It was never the most profitable ranch even when my pops was in charge, but I've kept it afloat the best I can, despite rising costs in the last couple of years. Grace gave me the freedom to make Sunset Ranch as much mine as it was hers. As long as I kept her safe haven running, that's all that mattered. I think she knew I'd appreciate what it meant to her, given she left her corporate job in London to start it, going against everything her family wanted for her. I'll always remember the chat she had with me before I headed off to college, reminding me to make time for what I enjoyed, even if it didn't seem like the right thing to do. And honestly, Sunset Ranch has become my safe haven. Too, even if my family doesn't understand, it's the only place I've ever felt fully myself. The only place I've ever felt truly free, able to roam and soar like an eagle. It's why I gave up everything to be here, and it's why I'll do anything to make sure I don't lose it. The world's shown me that I can't always have everything I want, but this is the one thing I'll forever fight for. I don't know what I'd do without it. I'm not naive enough to pretend that I don't know what's been happening to other ranches, people selling out because the money we get for the work we do just isn't sustainable, and that anxiety is spreading into Willow Ridge. But I haven't let myself properly consider that yet, hoping not to speak it into existence. hoping I'd be saved from having to return to my parents' house, tail between my legs, hoping I wouldn't have to apply to jobs way below my experience level at other ranches, where everyone knows who I am and will just echo the usual peaked at high school gossip. I know that people will say I might be able to carry on working here when it's sold, but the likelihood of the ranch being bought out by another Grace is about zero. Yes, if someone buys the ranch and wants to capitalize on making it into holiday homes, like Grace expected since she already started renovating some of the old buildings, they might want to keep some of us on to look after the land, even without the cattle. However, there's no way they'll match the salary Grace gave us or let me stay in my house. I don't technically own it, it's just part of my contract with a small rent to be paid. So that's extra upheaval. The alternative is probably what most of the other ranchers around Willow Ridge are worried about. You're either going to be bought out by some rich-ass millionaire who just wants the land for themselves, maybe to do a bit of fishing and horse riding and pissing about, but never anything that requires employing all of us ranchers. Or you'll get some company buying the ranch for the land, where they'll just end up splitting it up to sell it off, or wiping any trace of ranching away by building some huge mall. Basically, I'm fucked. Usually it only takes a few minutes riding before my mind returns to a more comforting emptiness, the whistling fresh air and glowing sunset kneading out any tension that's built in my body. But today, there's an unshakable feeling hovering over me, one that the thrum of hooves beating against the ground or amber sunlight glistening across the lake can't move, one that feels like a chapter has come to an end, and I'm not sure if I want to turn the page. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Aurora. Morning. I'd love to discuss everything that needs sorting out for the ranch to date, so feel free to pop over when you get a chance. I'll probably be out the back when you get here. Thanks. I can practically hear her sunny British accent chiming through with her excessive use of exclamation marks. Doesn't this woman realize that texting was created to reduce the amount we had to say to each other? One of my favorite inventions, actually. It's barely even late morning, and my muscles are already aching. The lack of sleep probably didn't set me up well for today, nor did one of our ranchers, Josh, calling in sick, doubling my workload for the day. Still, while some might complain, the idea of getting to spend longer out in the fields or on the back of Dusty somewhat soothes me. As I near the house, I notice a flash of copper hair shining in the morning sun on the back deck. I have to angle my head as I get closer, trying to figure out how the hell Aurora's body is contorting the way it is without her screaming in pain. In fact, she's smiling as one leg bends in front of her, while she reaches back over her head to hold her other foot. A masochistic princess, then. Upbeat classical music plays from a speaker at the top of her purple yoga mat, which is decorated with little white butterflies. Her eyes are closed, so she hasn't seen me climb up the stairs. It gives me a chance to take a few deep breaths to calm my already tensing body at the sight of the woman who might be about to tear down my dreams. It also gives me a chance to notice the tight light green sports bra and shorts she's wearing that show off even more of her toned body than her outfit yesterday. Mesh panels on her thighs reveal lean muscle, and another panel down the middle of her chest shows off an intricate tattoo of a butterfly on her sternum. That's just a little bit too sexy for my liking right now. There is something about tattoos on a woman that excites me, especially when said woman gives off the kind of innocent, sweet vibe that Aurora does. It's like they're a little window into the dark side she's hiding. What's with the butterflies? I ask. Aurora starts, letting go of her leg with a squeak. She opens her eyes, immediately gracing me with another smile as she shuffles onto her knees. She's too cheery for the morning. I don't like it. Good morning, she chimes. Her voice is much softer than yesterday, and less flustered. I'm guessing she probably got a good night's sleep after all that traveling. Can't be hard to fall asleep, though, when you've just been handed an estate without having to lift a finger. As she stands, sweaty skin glistening in the sunlight, I realize that everything about her is a pop of color. The orange hair, the bright green outfit, and shiny lips the color of strawberries. I'm so used to all the dark wood and shadowy mountains around here, it's almost blinding. Butterflies are my good omen? Good omen, I wish I'd never asked. This sounds like some voodoo shit I don't want to know about. like a sign that good is coming. If I see a butterfly, it means I'm on the right path. And I'm not even joking when I say a butterfly floats by at that very moment, making her beam. I decide I no longer like butterflies. I don't appreciate them encouraging her to think she should be here. Hold on 1 second, Aurora says as she bends down to retrieve her phone, which is propped up on a small tripod. I get a glimpse of another tattoo of several butterflies cascading along the back of her shoulder, similar to one I have of birds across mine. How many more of these little tattoos does she have hidden? I bet there's another underneath those shorts somewhere. Sorry, Aurora stands, and her nails tap across her phone screen as she frowns. I was just filming my yoga routine. Better make sure I cut you out of the end. I turn to Hold in a laugh. Why the hell were you filming? Yourself? Her hazel eyes flick up to meet mine dubiously. There's a little bit of fire dancing in the pale brown, something she quickly tries to quell with another smile pushing up her freckled cheeks. For my followers, Aurora shrugs. Like it's silly for me not to know that, making me feel like an old man. Right? Is this part of your whole influencer thing? I make quotation marks with my fingers when I say influencer, because I still don't quite get how it's a profession. When Grace eventually confessed that she was ill and didn't have long left, she'd assured me that the niece she was leaving her ranch to was capable and knew how to run a business. She even said she thought we'd get along well. I wonder if she's laughing in her grave right now. Aurora rolls her lips in contemplation, eyes narrowing. Hands land on her hips as she quirks her brow at me. I've got the fire kindling again, it seems. Asterisk, that influencer thing is my business, where I help people transform their lives and become happier, more successful individuals. And part of that includes yoga videos to help them distress. My eyes rocket heavenward, begging for the self-control that will stop me from ripping into that too hard. I mutter under my breath, yeah, I'm sure a few stretches will make me a millionaire in no time. Aurora flicks her ginger waves behind her shoulder, hip popped. Feel free to give me a follow on Instagram. You might find you'll learn something, like how to smile. Sounds awful, I grunt, undeniably a little shocked at the sass. She looks all proper, but there's a feisty side for sure. If that's how she wants to play, count me in. I cross my arms, leaning against the fence. How does it work anyway? Do you wave a crystal about, tell me to live, laugh, love, and all my woes disappear? Aurora's jaw tightens before she takes a deep breath and drops to her knees to roll up her yoga mat. When she stands back up, she asks, is the folder for me? That brings me straight back to reality. Because there was a real reason I came over here, not just to spar with, I sigh. I put together everything you need to know in there. Hesitantly, Aurora takes the folder, our eyes briefly meeting when her cold fingers accidentally brush mine. I immediately cross my arms again. I don't need to know what her touch feels like. The less I know about her, the better. Aurora flicks through the folder. Everything I collated last night while I couldn't sleep. Maps of the ranch, details and schedules for the ranchers, and the contractors doing the place up to make it sellable. Everything I've been sorting out for Grace since she passed. Hopefully, if Aurora has all the paperwork, then she'll have less reason to pester me. Wow, this is super organized, Aurora observes, disbelief lacing her words. There's a lot in here. Yep, and it's your problem now. I push off the fence. Admittedly, I'm probably overloading her with a hell of a lot of information that even I would have struggled to assimilate all in one go when I first started here. But if she's so insistent that this is her ranch now, and hers to determine the future of so blithely, then she's going to have to learn how this all works pretty quickly. Wait. Aurora spins as I dash away. You're not going to sit and go through it all with me. The gruff laugh leaves my lips before I can stop it. Sorry, princess, but I actually have a ranch to run. Unless you're planning on getting up on one of the horses and helping out. Strawberry lips pop open. I don't ride. I shake my head, smiling at how predictable she is. Owns a ranch and can't ride a horse. Just perfect. Of course you don't, princess.